First of all, well done, congrats. You were seated there 3 days ago after the India loss, and someone asked you how the team was going to come back against this England team. And you said, I'm going to paraphrase, but you said it's cricket, anything can happen. What does this mean for the boys, and how do you feel right now?
I think it'll take a while, or hopefully it takes a little bit, it sinks in pretty quickly because we've got to move on quite quickly as well. We've got a game in Chennai in 3 days. Um, but I think it's important that the guys enjoy it, but also take stock and realize when they get a certain amount of things right in the 50 overs or the 100 overs completely, what they can achieve and the team the level of team that they can put under pressure and compete with and win cricket matches. So, don't want to get too far ahead. We played three and one. But looking forward to getting to Chennai and rolling up our sleeves and getting cracking there.
Okay, Afghan cricket has come a long journey. So, would you place this I mean, how significant do you think? Would you consider rate this victory as in the history of Afghan cricket?
Well, I think in the 50 over competition, it could be one of the highlights. I think, the only other World Cup game they've won was in 2015, I think, in Dunedin against Scotland. Um, so this is significant. It's certainly in the manner and by the margin as well. And the way that they played, at no time really, I think when we were batting, um, did we think we were running away with the game? We thought we had a decent total, but we had to bowl well and field well, and the guys did that. So I think it's very pleasing, and there's a lot of confidence that'll hopefully come from this when competing against the bigger nations, and it'll have a knock-on effect for all the other games, but not only in this World Cup, but for the future as well. Just what Afghanistan cricket can achieve. Hopefully, this will be the sort of kickstart it is, because I know the next match, our opposition, certainly will be. I'm not saying the word looking at us closely, but they might have a look at the tape again. We respect every opposition, and I say this to the guys, but we don't fear anyone. Every game we here to play, we here. I believe we can win.
Anayat Al from BBC Afghan. This match must be received very with happiness back in Afghanistan and also bring some relief to the cricket team, particularly in the backdrop of natural disaster in Afghanistan.
Hmm. Well, I think, and that's what I said. I think I was here yesterday or the day before. I can't remember, and saying, that it's not just cricket that the guys are playing for. The guys are very knowledgeable of the things and the hardship that some people are going through because of the natural disaster and for various other reasons. And so if this can give a smile to people's faces anywhere in the world, but also encourage boys and girls to pick up a cricket bat or a cricket ball and get playing cricket wherever they are in Afghanistan, then that's the sort of the goal that's been achieved, and that's great, and grow the game and the publicity and the exposure that the side's going to give the country, but also the sport.
Sorry. Yeah, you've spoken before about how sometimes this team emotionally can get a bit too high or too low, those extremes. So how do you manage what you can imagine would be a massive high for them for this? How do you go about that, dealing with the team?
I'm very keen not to put a dampener on things or tell them to sort of just focus on the next game. I think it's important, certainly moments like this. I know from my career or my experience, I never soaked up enough or enjoyed moments. I'm certainly going to say to the guys, enjoy tonight, and spend the time together, whatever you want to do. But as soon as we land in Chennai, then in sort of 18 hours, 12 hours time, whatever it is, then we switch on for the next game, and it's back to business. So it's important you celebrate your victories because they're so hard, and they're always such a challenge. So that'll be my message tonight to the guys when I get back to the dressing room, and make sure when we get to that first training session the day before our game in Chennai that we're fully focused.
Shotty, in terms of England results, this one might be mentioned in the same breath as the Ireland game in Bengaluru in 2011. I think you played in it.
I can't remember.
I was going to ask if you remembered it, what it was like to be on the other side of that kind of defeat.
I remember. I think so. I think of that, but that's the beauty of the World Cup, isn't it? that's what cricket's about, and it's. I said earlier, this game, it sort of pushes and pulls you so much emotionally as a player and as a coach, because you want the players to do so well, because you know what they can achieve. And the previous two games, there were glimpses when we did things well, maybe perhaps more so in the second game. So I'm just chuffed for the players, and I'm really, the things that we've spoken about, and as a side, we've agreed that if we get these sort of things right, we can compete with anybody in the world. So it's just a belief that I think that'll give the guys, the work that they put in off the field. These guys work incredibly hard, I must say, off the field, gym wise, fitness wise. Really impressed with them, and they'll see the rewards. And this will encourage them to kick on even more, hopefully. So it's brilliant. It's one win out of three. So let's look forward to the next game.
Hi, Jonathan. This is Sunita from NDTV. And last time I asked you when you lost against India, and I asked you that will Afghanistan be able to beat England? And you said, definitely, Afghanistan will beat anyone. Now you've done it. So how are you feeling, and what positives Afghanistan will take for the upcoming games of the World Cup?
Well, I think, it's to bowl out England, I think, 220 and on what is quite a very small field here at Delhi. It just shows that, when we bowl, when we hit our straps with the ball, and Faisal and Mujib were excellent up front. It was, all round, I think the 50 overs, there was times when it was ebbing and flowing, but we held our nerve, and that's the thing. Sometimes when we've got in positions to win, we haven't been able to capitalize. So we had Brooke was playing fantastically, and we managed to sort of nullify him a little bit and try and bowl at the other one. Just the cricketing awareness. That's the types of things when you're playing big games like this and you win big games. You remember the things you did well, and I know a lot of the captain and the bowlers, they'll take a lot of things like that from it. And when they're in the position again, hopefully under pressure, or the expectation is they can win a game for their side. They'll know what to do, and they'll know how to execute.
Trotty, could I just ask you to speak a bit about Gurbaz's innings, and particularly the way he came out and put England under pressure up top in the power play?
And that's amazing, wasn't it? And the shots that he plays and the start that he can give us. Often I say to Gurbaz, if you 30 or 40, I'm not worried at all, because you can catch it up at any stage, and we can see certainly on good wickets, opening the batting and the balls fairly hard. He plays spin and he plays seam so well that. And the longer he bats, the more chance we have of winning. That's what I say to him as well. So, fantastic talent, a real interesting character. And for him, the amount of talent he has, certainly the sky is the limit. It's just about, him, getting the best out of himself day in, day out.
Hi, Todd. So you have mentioned Chennai twice now, and now you'll be playing New Zealand, who have already won 3 out of 3. And I'm not playing as a dampener, but do you think you'll be able to overcome them? And the second question is, you'll be playing 2 matches in Chennai. You have played 2 in Delhi. You'll be playing 2 in Chennai. So does that help?
Well, I think certainly. I think it's certainly in a competition like this where you're moving around a lot. You don't have to move. There's no travel, for tiredness, or for, you become familiar with the pitch as well. But not to say, that first game in Chennai, and we'll have a look, and then we'll only try and win the second game. We're there to try and win both games. So I think that's the mentality. New Zealand are playing really well. They're a good side. They had a great series against England, a very competitive series. So I know that they will, fancy themselves, and they'll probably be the favourites. But we don't mind. That's okay.
Trotty, hi. There's been a lot of talk about the way that England have kind of dominated white ball cricket over the last sort of 5 years or so. But did you get a sense when you were kind of coming into this game that there were areas that you could exploit, that there were areas of weakness that maybe they hadn't, and did your players exploit them in the way that maybe you wanted them to?
Well, we knew what we wanted to do. It's not so much, exploiting anything. It's a case of if we do these things consistently right, then, that'll give us the best chance. I think it helped us a little bit. The wicket was spinning. So for the fact that we went on and got 284 on a wicket